Hi everyone, welcome to this seminar for CFA details. Before we begin with the seminar, just let me know if there is any issue with the audio or the video. All right, so let's begin. The agenda for today is we are going through some of the details as to what the CFA course is. So we'll be looking at the course structure, the syllabus, the details, and also how this course is going to help you in your professional career in longer term. So we'll be looking at some job prospects also, or some job profiles where CFAs are a desired candidates. So let's start first with the CFA program itself. Now, CFA program does offer a few benefits. In fact, it has one biggest benefit that it is only a single certified course globally. Only one institute all across the world. So it is one of those rare professional courses which is recognized globally via just a single certification. So if you look at chartered accountancy or other professions, each country has their own body and you have to get certified with them to do your operations on an international level. If you want to do accountancy operations in US, you have to get CPA recognition. But CFA works as a single qualification all around the world. The program is recognized by more than 60 plus regulators in more than 40 markets. Now, these 40 markets include all of your developed and developing countries. So you have Asian countries, European countries, US countries. All of them recognize CFA as a financial analyst certification. Now, employers recognize CFA charter holders as the definitive standard by which to measure the competence, integrity, and dedication of serious investment professionals. In the very basic sense, because CFA is the premier finance course all around the world, the recognition value of CFA is very high in your investment community in particular. And this is a particular advantage that you get exposure to practical skills. Now, this is something that I personally also experienced as a student when I started studying for CFA back in 2014. I cleared all my CFA exams in 2019. So, over the entire course of my studies, one of the biggest benefit of CFA course is that it's not structured like a lot of the other courses that you might study. You don't have to mug up the books or anything as such. Rather, the way in which the questions are asked in exams, they are squarely targeting whether or not a student can apply what he has learned in a practical scenario. So one of the best things about CFA Institute is that you are not going to be studying it for cramming and getting the passing marks or anything as such. The whole point of CFA studies and how the curriculum is designed is to make sure that you are able to practically apply what you read. So one of the best examples for that, if you are from a commerce background or somewhere else, in your graduation, you come across certain valuations for time value of money. We do a lot of calculations for that in CFA also. But the thing is, in your graduation, you had to do an entire process. CFA Institute is not interested in that process because CFA Institute says that in the real world, you'll do this on an Excel file. So they are not interested in the process. They are just interested in whether you can interpret the results or not. So the actual calculation is handled purely by financial calculator if you know how to use that, which is part of your curriculum itself, how to get familiar with the financial calculator. Once you get to that, the idea of CFA Institute is fairly simple. They are more interested in knowing whether you can make decisions on the basis of results in the real market situations or not. And another great thing about CFA is because it's a global recognized certification, it also has a global community. Now, this is something that I can give you a practical explanation for. Whenever you decide to register for your CFA Institute, if you are in India or anywhere around the world, the first thing that happens is the CFA Institute asks you if they should share your contact details with your local CFA societies. And once you do that, CFA societies have a lot of events all around the year at different locations in the country. You, as a student, are allowed to attend all of those. That is one of the best benefits of CFA, that it is one of those rare professional qualifications that allows students to get engaged in your seminars of CFA professionals. So discussing how the pandemic affects the markets. When the pandemic started, there were a lot of seminars done for that. Students are given access to that. So you can join your society and you can interact with them. You can go to those events. You can interact with other professionals who have cleared the CFA qualification, who have working experience of 20, 30 years, the seniors of the profession. So you can go and interact with them and share the experiences. That is one of the best parts of CFA recognition. Moving on, what exactly is the criteria for registering for CFA and all those details? Well, you have three levels in CFA exam. So CFA exam has level 1, level 2, and level 3. And after level 3, you get your CFA charter. Charter simply means the qualification. Now, for level 1, you need final year graduation. This is the minimum requirement. Graduation can be in any stream. If you have completed graduation, that's good. If you haven't completed graduation, you have to be in the final year at the time of appearing for CFA level 1. Let me repeat again, graduation could be in any stream. So you could be a graduate in engineering or arts, anywhere, whatever you feel you're comfortable with. If somewhere doing engineering you feel like you have an interest in finance, CFA Institute is not restricting you at all. So any graduation is acceptable. Another thing you need for CFA is your passport, because your passport is one half of your exam hall ticket. So your admit card for the exam, when you appear for the exam, you get a sheet from the institute containing details of your seat number, roll number, all of those. But aside from that, they also have passport. You have to carry your passport in the exam hall, without which you are not given entry. So passport is mandatory. Now, once you clear level 1, level 2 can only be given after finishing graduation. And by finishing graduation, I mean that you can only register for level 2 once you have finished your graduation. Because when you register for level 2, the registration process itself, it's going to ask a question. Are you done with your graduation or not? And those forms are filled on trust basis. A lot of students tend to do the thing that they just say yes and then they clear it. After that, they go for the exam. Make sure at no point do you give any fake or wrong answers to what CFA Institute is asking, because all of your process from level 1 to level 3, it's done on online portals on a trust basis. They are not going to ask for any sort of documentation proof. But when you want your qualification, this is where they will ask for details. So make sure you follow what the set procedure is. So for level 2, you should have completed your graduation. That is the key. And for level 3 exam, you should have just cleared your level 2, and you can give your level 3 whenever you are eligible. Now, level 3 does not complete your CFA qualification, because just like any other professional qualification, we have doctors, they need practical training. We have CAs who need articleship. CFAs are also required to have work experience. Now, this work experience requirement, it is to be analyzed by the institute on a case by case basis. So you don't have a one single hard and fast rule. But the generalized requirement is of 4,000 hours over a minimum of 36 months. So at least 3 years, so many hours. Now, in some cases, they even extend it to 4 years. The key thing is that CFA Institute will decide whether your work experience is relevant or not on a case by case basis. So maybe you have done some audit work before you even start your CFA. Maybe you're already working and then you start for CFA. Your previous experience could also be considered relevant by CFA Institute. So make sure you don't go into the perception that if you're not working in portfolio management or finance, all the experiences is relevant. No, there are cases where audit experiences or taxation experiences, they also could be considered by the CFA Institute. And specifically, if I give some practical detail here, so this is not strictly part of your PPT and seminar, but in your real world, a lot of students have this doubt that if I do level three and then I look for a job, or I only have like 6 months of experience when I cleared level three, would that make me overqualified or any such thing? Would that negatively affect? Would I not get the benefit of clearing level three if I don't have charter? The difference in the actual real industry between you having a charter and you clearing CFA level 3 is only about 5 to 10% in terms of how much your knowledge is valued. So salaries, packages, all of that, it's just a difference of 5 to 10%, nothing too big. So you can clear all three levels at your own pace. There is no hard and fast rule. This work experience requirement, this can be done before level one, before level two, level three. You can do it anytime. All your professional work that you have done, all of that is going to be considered for this. So there is no requirement that this is only to be done after level three. You could have done it at any time, even before registering for CFA. Now, let's move on to the topics. I'll cover this last part when we get to the further slides. We have a slide covering the format of the exam. Now, next up, we have topics for your CFA exam. So you have level one, level two, level three. And the good thing is the topics are same. So effectively, you will be studying these things across all three levels. But the exam portion is structured in such a way that, for example, you study equity investments at level one. Level one is just going to be you as an introduction. So they will teach you equity as an introductory part. They will introduce you to how markets work, how securities work, how the basic valuation works. At level two, you will be exposed to technical details, complex valuation models using different cash flows, different multiples, a lot of those things. And at level three, it would build further on top of all that you've covered at level one, level two, by introducing you to portfolio management of equity securities. So while you are studying equity across all three levels, wherever you leave at level one, that is going to form the base for level two. So at no point are you going to be repeating the same things again and again. The institute has designed the curriculum in a very efficient manner. So for all the topics, you have this. The only exception, or rather two exceptions, one is ethics. Ethics syllabus across all three levels. 95% of the syllabus is same. So ethics, what you study at level one, as it is at level two, as it is level three. And so what you study at level one, if you study in good detail, you'll save a lot of prep time at level two. The other exception is FRA. Now, FRA is slightly leaning towards financial reporting, but the focus is still on analytical part. So it's not accountancy by any means. This is a common doubt I get in classes also. Financial reporting is, FRA is not accountancy related at all. But the syllabus for this as a whole, if I look at the entire accountancy structure, the standards and all that, the syllabus itself is so big that if they put all of it in one level, it would overshadow everything else. So FRA is another topic which is not building from where you left at level. Rather, for FRA, some part, or rather most of the part, is at level one. The remaining is at level two. Aside from ethics and FRA, every single topic, what you study at level one, is going to be the base for level two, and what you study at level two is going to form a base for level three. Now, portfolio management is your 10th topic. And if you look carefully, level one and two, it's not as highly weighted. But level three, you have a very high weightage of exam as portfolio management. In fact, at level 3, the economics is also portfolio management using economics. This is equity portfolio management, fixed income, derivatives, alternatives. All of these at level 3 are portfolio management of these securities. So effectively, at level 3, 85 to 90% of your syllabus is going to revolve around portfolio management and how different securities interact with this. So, level 1, you will be introduced to a lot of securities. Level 2, you learn a great deal about those securities. Level 3, how do I make portfolio with those securities? So, that is the structure of your CFA exam. Now, for each level, the general consensus is that you need about 250 to 300 hours of study. Now, this is, let me be very clear, a generalization. If you have some sort of commerce background, maybe you did graduation BCom or something, or chartered accountancy, in that case, at level 1, FRA is easy, equity is easy, corporate finance is easy. You'll save a lot of time. So you might only need 150 hours or so. If you're coming from a non-commerce background, you're from an engineering background, then you will have to study a lot of these things right from the very basics. Now, the good thing is all the basics that you need, they are part of your level 1 syllabus. So if you are from non-commerce background, don't worry at all. You will just have to study slightly more hours than other people, but everything you need is part of your level 1 syllabus. You don't have to go outside level 1 preparing something so that you can understand level 1 better. That's not the case. The syllabus is designed in a way that even if you have no commerce, no financial background, all the basics that you need to understand the world of finance, they are part of the level. So irrespective of whether you have financial background or not, the course is designed in a very approachable manner. Now, the exam pattern, December exam in India, it's no longer happening, it's been cancelled. But just for comparison's sake, 2020 and before that, exams used to be on a pen paper format where you used to go and for level 1, 2, and also half of level 3, you used to have an OMR sheet that you used to fill. But now your exams from next year are going to be computer based. So it's still MCQ, but it's going to be on a computer system. Now, there are a few changes which are happening. Earlier, the exams used to be 6 hours, 2 sessions of 3 hours each. Now, your exam is going to be of 4.5 hours. 2 sessions of 2 hours, 15 minutes each. That 15 minutes is for a break in between the session. So you have 2.25 hour sessions with a break in between. 90 questions per session. Earlier, you used to have a total of 240 questions. Now you have 180 questions. Now, logically, the time has been reduced more than the number of questions. If I look at the time from 6 hours, your exam time is effectively going down to 4 hours. But the questions are only reducing by 25%, which means from next year onwards, speed is going to be very important. The speed at which you solve the answers is going to play a very big part because there is a general consensus. Again, this is not a number quoted by EduPristine or by Institute anywhere. This is not an official number, but the general idea is if you want to clear the exam, you should be scoring 70% or more. This is the general idea. There could be a situation where you could score more than 70 and still not clear the exam because the exam result is based on percentile system. So it's not your score that matters. It's the score of everyone around you that matters. You just have to be in the top certain percent. Now, in an exam where you have to score so high, firstly, you cannot leave any topic. You leave a topic, that's 5-10% that you're leaving out of it, and you're giving advantage to the other students who studied it. Also, if you study everything and you're not able to complete the exam, that is also a big disadvantage. So now more than ever, speed is of utmost importance, which means your study strategy has to be more focused on practicing a lot of questions. You will get the hang of doing the questions, doing the calculations. You will understand the logic by practicing 10, 15 questions. But that's not going to be enough. Once you understand the logic, you have to keep practicing 50, 60 more questions of the same variety so that your speed of calculation improves. So that would become a very important part. Now for level one, all MCQ questions, and your exams would happen in four cycles during the entire year: February, May, August, and November. Now, one additional rule that CFA Institute has introduced here is that once you appear for a level in any of these cycles, so the exam will happen 4 times a year, at any point if you appear, your next appearance cannot be in the very immediate next cycle. So for example, you appear for February, your next exam cannot be in May. May is not valid for you. You have to skip a cycle and go to the next one, which is August. So no subsequent cycles can be given by the same candidate. So that is going to be key. Now for level 2 and level 3, the information we have as to the structure of the exam is slightly less. So I'll just give a brief idea of how it used to be right now. The idea is it's probably going to stay similar going ahead also. The reason is originally CFA Institute had planned level 2 and 3 to become computer based in 2022. But because of the pandemic, they had to accelerate that process, and they have made the decision to make level 2 and 3 computer based from 2021 itself, starting in May. Now, the older structure was that at level 1, you get individual questions, one question, three options. Uh, it's a self contained question most of the time. But at level 2, you used to have a case study based approach where you got a 1.5 page case study, one entire case, maybe one entire firm, all of its details. And then based on those details, you got 6 questions or 4 questions. Those questions were still MCQ, but they were all part of a one big comprehensive case. So you had to first study the case, understand it, and then use it in the MCQs. That was the pattern for level 2, and also one session of level 3. Level 3 had 2 sessions. One was the MCQ, just like level 2. The other session of level 3 was a subjective exam. Now, we don't know in the computer based if it's going to stay subjective or not, because CFA Institute has not yet given concrete details as to how the computer based test would be done for level 2 and 3. They gave it for level 1 because level 1 was anyways planned from 2021 onwards. So we are still waiting for proper details. But earlier level 3 used to have one session out of 2 subjective, where you've got a situation, you had to create a portfolio for the client, or you had to understand and make decisions on the basis of the case provided. So all of that was relevant. Now the good thing about level 2 and 3 is, while level 1 is going to happen 4 times a year, level 2 and 3 are now going to happen 2 times a year. So basically, earlier level 1 was twice, level 2 and 3 were once. Both of them have double the attempts throughout the year. Now, your scoring metrics. This is something we'll look at in a coming slide where we are discussing more about how you get your exam results. Now, in India, you have centers at various locations. In fact, for the computer-based test, you even have multiple centers within the New Delhi region and so on. The benefit of computer-based exam is that you will be given a scheduling window. So there won't be a one single day of exam. Rather, you'll get a week or maybe even 10 days where you can choose a slot in which you want to appear for the exam. Due to that reason, the chances of February exam happening and not getting cancelled immediately are slightly higher than they were for the December exam. It's still not a certainty that they are 100% going to happen. But the chances of computer-based test with the scheduling happening with social distancing and all is much better than what it was for the December exams. Now, these are some of the details from the CFA Institute's website itself. So it's talking about a June 2020 candidate. So if you're an existing candidate who registered in June but couldn't appear for it due to pandemic, you could have moved it further. December is no longer available, not for India at least. Going ahead, you can apply for either of these two options. Now, in 2021, level 2 is going to happen in May and August. Level 3 is going to happen in May and November. And at no point can you give subsequent exams in subsequent cycles. So you have to skip a cycle in between. Now, moving ahead, this is a key part. So far, we've discussed that you'll have exams for all three levels, level 2 and 3 twice, level 1 four times. But for 2022 exams and onwards, the original idea of Institute was that level 2 will happen in February and August, level 3 will happen in May and November. So basically, level 2 and level 3 will never happen together. This was the original idea of CF Institute, but because June and December 2020 got cancelled, for that reason, in next year, they could not have level 2 in February because of logistical reasons. So for that reason, 2021 is going to be the only year where level 2 and level 3 will happen together in May. Otherwise, 2022 and onwards, the structure would be fairly similar. In Feb, you have level 1 and 2. In May, you'll have level 1 and 3. Then in August, again, level 1 and 2. And in November, level 1 and 3. So effectively, if you appear for level 2 somewhere in February 2020, you will be eligible for level 3 in November because you cannot give the May cycle. It's the subsequent cycle. You are not allowed to sit for it. So your next attempt would come at November 2022. Now, overall, what this means is in the existing system, the distance between level 2 to level 3, assuming you clear all the exams in first attempt, was 1 year. But under the new system, for 2022 and onwards, it would be 9 months. And if you are one of those lucky few who is registered for level 2 exam already in May, then the distance is just 6 months. You can give the level 2 in May and you can register for level 3 in November. Either ways, the time it takes to complete the entire CFA exams from level 1, 2, 3, that is going to reduce drastically. So that is going to be very big advantage for a lot of students. But the key thing is time is reducing, but the amount of study time you have to put in, that is not reducing. So make sure if you want the fastest route, you are committed to sparing the time for your studies. Now your study material and exam resources. Well, you get your study material from CF Institute itself. When you register for the exam, you get ebooks from your CF Institute, and you also get a small question bank on the CF Institute's website itself. So everything in the soft copy. Then, if you register for EduPristine, you get material from EduPristine also. There is an online LMS where you can download or view some of the materials. Geetu, go ahead. So if any of you have any doubt at any point, you can just raise your hand. I'll give you mic access. Yeah, Geetu, go ahead. Is there any doubt? Sorry, it's Geeta. All right. If you have any doubts, you can raise your hand or, yeah, Muralidharan. Yeah, go ahead. You'll have to unmute your mic. I'll give you mic access, but you'll have to unmute it. Yeah, Muralidharan, go ahead. I'm not getting any audio. Kunal, go ahead if you have any doubt.
It is here.
Yeah, Kunal, go ahead. I can hear you.
Okay, actually, I am the working professional and I have 14 years experience in finance and accounts.
All right.
So right now I am searching for the professional degree for us because I already have done my PGDM MBA
Okay.
from AMA. So in this situation, what is my step? And it is the same of a level one, level two, level three. I have to pass out for the final exam, or I.
Uh, the course structure is still the same. You will have to start from level one, then to level three, level two, and level three.
Mhm.
But the time it takes for you to get your charter, that could be reduced.
Okay, so then it will be accountable after completion of level three,
Yeah.
right?
So after level three, basically when you register for CFA program, on the
Mhm.
institute's portal itself, you feed all of your professional details, and that includes your work experience also.
Oh,
Once you clear level three, after that you can apply for the charter, and if they consider your previous experience to be relevant, to be properly suited for the qualification, then they might grant you charter immediately after clearing level three.
okay. And the second question is all the classes, I think it will be online, right?
Uh, as of now, I would suggest someone from EduPristine might probably contact you, or you should contact them, because my role here is as a visiting faculty.
Okay,
So whether the classes happen on a face-to-face basis or not, it depends on a situation. And given that over the next 5-6 months, the classes would be spread across at least 3-4 months,
hmm,
so maybe face-to-face, maybe online. There is a higher chance of it just being online.
and where is the institution in Calcutta? Where it is? Can
Uh,
you?
for that, I would suggest contact the EduPristine team.
Okay,
I am currently for face-to-face classes. I was taking classes before the pandemic in Delhi center, so I am residing
okay,
in Delhi right now.
okay, okay, okay. Thank you for the answers.
Geeta, exam would be conducted in India. You have centers in India, so don't worry about that. You just need passport as a sort of exam ticket. You don't actually have to go to US for the exams. Yes, the exam is computer based, but you have to go to the center. Uh, Manish, yes, you can appear for February, but you will have to check on the CFA Institute's website, because there are a lot of students whose exams got cancelled in 2020. So if slots are not available, because there is a very large number of candidates who haven't given exam for 1 year. So if slots are available, then probably CFA Institute would allow you to register. Otherwise, you will be moved on to the May for your level one exam. December, if you are giving in India, it's not happening. It was cancelled in October itself. All right, moving ahead. Don't worry, I'll give you guys my full introduction and my contact details in case you have any further doubts towards the end of the session. Now, aside from study material, LMS, all of these, you also get some question banks from EduPristine, online access itself, and during lecture notes. Aside from this, you will need a financial calculator, and the one that I would recommend out of these two, whichever you feel better. Both of these are suitable for your CFA across all three levels. The professional just comes with a few more functions which are more relevant for some of the other exams like actuaries and all the other things. But both of these work exactly the same way for all three levels of CFA. And only this calculator is allowed in the exam hall. If you enter the exam hall without any of these calculators, HP12C or the Texas BA2 Plus, you would not be allowed to carry that calculator. And trust me, if you don't have calculator in the exam, you might as well not sit for the exam. So this you will have to purchase. This is very important. And the reason why I recommend Texas over HP is fairly simple. In all the materials that you will refer, Texas is the more prevalent calculator, so it's easy to find resources which help you understand some of the tricks and shortcuts of how to do a calculation. So, because Texas is the more used one, you will find more material online. So, if you want to watch a tutorial, a YouTube tutorial for HP would be rare. A YouTube tutorial for Texas would be very easy to find, very quick. Also, a lot of your study materials, they are directly referring to the steps for Texas and not as such for HP. So for that reason, I would suggest just go for this. Whether you take BA2 plus or BA2 plus professional, that is your choice. Both are completely acceptable for your CFA exams across all three levels. Now, moving ahead for exam fees. Now, the exam fees has a $450 one-time charge. This would happen only when you register for the first time for CFA exams. Mostly it would be at the time you register for level 1. So this is not going to happen again at level 2 or level 3. This is just a one-time charge. Aside from that, you have exam registration, which is your fees for the exam. Now, your exam fees has several deadlines. And for those exact dates or deadlines, you will have to keep referring to the institute website. You have an early registration, which would have the lowest fees of $700. Then you have a standard registration, which would have a fees of 850 to 950. I'm not exactly sure about the exact figure, so I wrote 900 here. And then you also have a late registration. So 450 plus whatever your exam registration is. Now, for May exams, your deadlines are as follows for early registration and standard registration. Once more, let me clarify this 450 only at the time of first time registering for level 1. So if you are registering for level 1, maybe you couldn't give it and you have to give the exam again. The second time you register for level 1, then also you will only be charged exam registration. This 450 is just a one time fees for your entire CFA journey. Now, your result in CFA is going to be given to you in this kind of a manner. Now, this is very important to understand. Maybe not right now when you're starting, but your CFA institute at no point will tell you how many marks you score. Rather, it would just give you an idea of where you stand in comparison to other students. So normally the clarification is that it gives you a detail of 90th percentile, that out of all people above this only 10% scored, below this only 10% scored. So this is 10th percentile, 90th percentile. And somewhere in between is your 70th or 50th percentile. Normally this is going to be 50th percentile, the midway point. And then this entire block This is going to give you an indication of how the average student who is at your skill level, where did they score and where exactly did you lie in between. So out of all of this block represents your score. So as such, they are not going to tell you that, okay, you scored 80% in equity or anything as such. No, percentages are not to be revealed outright. Rather, what they'll give you is percentile information. That out of all students who gave the exams, where did you end up standing? Now, CFA Institute, normally the passing rates have been somewhere between 40% to 50% across level 1, 2, and 3. Normally, lowest at level 1, highest at level 3. Which means out of all people who sit for the exam, approximately 40% every year end up clearing the exam. So your intention is to stay in the top 40%. If you're in the top 40% and the CFA Institute decides that the result is top 40%, then you will clear the exam, irrespective of what percentage you get. Now, the benefit of this is that if the exam is difficult, it's not just difficult for you, it's difficult for everyone. And if it's easy, it's not just easy for you, it's easy for everyone. So, as such, not having a passing score means that the situations where the exam is difficult, so less people pass, exam is easy, more pass, that is not going to happen. CFA Institute will calculate all the scores, and then on the basis of percentiles, it would have a cutoff system. Moving on to some job prospects for your CFA program. So, where all could you get jobs and stuff? You have investment companies, mutual funds, wealth management companies are there, brokers, dealers, investment bankers. All of these are proper jobs. Now, if I talk specifically about jobs, there is, uh, I'll take the doubts towards the end. There's just 5-10 minutes more of discussion left. Then I'll take all the doubts together. So, in the jobs, what happens is if you are a fresher in the industry, level one gets you eligibility for all the financial analyst positions. These could be in equity firms or credit rating firms or any other firms. Financial analyst is the sort of entry level job in your finance industry. If, of course, you already have working experience, then all of that you can leverage. But if you are a fresher, level one gives you all the knowledge that is necessary for an entry level role of financial analyst. Level two allows you to specialize. After clearing level two, you can then specialize and maybe choose a particular stream. Maybe you just want to analyze equity securities, you just want to analyze stock market, maybe you want to analyze bonds. You can specialize in those streams because level two is very heavily focused on technicalities of individual security types. So when you study bonds at level two, you study them in very detail. So this would allow you to further specialize. So maybe you started as an entry level job, financial analyst. After 1 year, you clear your level two, you want to further uh, get a higher role in your company, that is possible. You want to switch to a company which is specializing in one particular security class, that is also very possible. Level three is all about wealth management, asset management, portfolio management. Now, this doesn't mean that you cannot get a portfolio management job after level one. You can. In the real world, your knowledge and experience is what matters. So, this is just a generic idea. At no point does this mean that you cannot get an equity research job at level one. There are students who are just studying for level one who have equity research jobs. So, this is just a rough idea. Now, various positions, well, you can get financial modeling analyst, financial research analyst, equity research analyst, credit analyst, all of these things. Now, all of these are going to be analyzing financial information. It's just that what they are analyzing for it is going to be different. An equity research analyst is analyzing it for telling whether the value of equity share in the market is correct or not. A credit analyst would analyze to give a rating. So the purpose would change, but you're still going to analyze the financial information. Then there can be other banking jobs, specifically treasury operations sometimes. They also have openings. Then analyst fact sheets. So this is more uh, a recent advancement that has started happening with ETFs and investment banking firms. So they often try to have some sort of financial marketing materials available for IP operations and all of that. So that is what this particular thing is. Then you can have analyst for indexing. Indexing is basically at times the bigger companies, they try to create their own metrics to judge the market rather than relying on the market metrics itself. Then project manager, pricing operations. Pricing operations is specifically focusing on pricing of financial products. So I want to issue shares, I want to issue bonds. What price should I offer them? And all of those. Process management is your managerial positions in your big financial institutions. So these are not just jobs at the entry level, but over the entire course of your CFA journey. Then financial consultants, research associates, and credit officer. So just like at the first slide, we had analyst, those higher positions are going to be consultants, associates, and officers. Now, the hiring of CFA charter holders and also candidates. This is just for charter holders because that's the detail that CFA Institute is giving. So you have all your big financial institutions, banks, investment banking companies, mutual fund companies, all of them hire CFA professionals globally also and in India also. And they offer them for various avenues. If you look carefully, sometimes they have even hired for accountant or auditor positions. So, as I was saying, work experience, CF Institute will decide on a case by case basis. Even audit experience could sometimes become relevant. So, all of this is very important. Globally, portfolio manager is the prime qualification or the prime job function for which CFA charter holder is considered to be the most qualified professional. Lastly, you have some details about EduPristine. So EduPristine is one of the oldest and the largest CFA exam partners. So EduPristine is also the uh, approved CFA Institute prep providers. Geeta, registration fees was only for what you will pay to the CFA Institute. The EduPristine course fees and all of that, that would be separate. For that, you will be contacted by someone from the sales team or someone from the EduPristine team. Now, all of these details about EduPristine, it is a member of a listed global education company in the United States. The good thing about EduPristine or something unique to me is that in 2015, when I started my CFA journey, I was a level 1 student at EduPristine. So right now I am a visiting faculty teaching level 1, level 2 students, and I have cleared all three levels of CFA. But I also started my student journey from EduPristine itself. Now they offer training by classroom. This, of course, due to pandemic, is something you will have to ask from your local coordinators. Then there is also live online classes that happen. So weekends normally it's 5 hour classes and somewhere around 24 classes in general. It could be one or two higher or lower depending upon how the classes are done. And you also have something known as crash course or revisionary course, where we have 5 sessions, day long sessions, almost 8 hours long, where the intention is not to teach everything, but to help student revise everything. Now, all of these, you do get access to the LMS. So you have for your online live training, you have question bank, you have recording of classes, you have mock exams and LMS because it's online. So you have 24/7 access. You can use LMS whenever you feel. Aside from all of this, EduPristine also provides you soft skill and placement assistance. So there is placement assistance. So when you register for EduPristine, you do get further placement assistance to help you get that job. And they also provide some soft skill classes, which are going to be helpful, particularly when you have client interactions in your job work. Batch size normally 25 to 30 students. This is more relevant for your classroom lectures, which used to happen. Right now, batch size varies between somewhere around 15 to 30, depending upon how many batches there are running concurrently. Now, soft skill training, this is provided by the EduPristine, and exact details of how it would be conducted, when it would be conducted, again, you will have to contact someone from the EduPristine team. My purpose here with the seminar was to make sure I am clarifying everything that I can about the CFA course. So these are just some of the partner companies where EduPristine placement has provided jobs to the students. So that is pretty much it. Payment modes for their fees. Again, you can discuss this with your coordinators at EduPristine. So now, if you have any questions, you can raise your hands or you can type them in. I'll try to answer that. My name is Shubham Goeth, and I have cleared all three levels of CFA. I am a student member of Institute and Faculties of Actuaries. So I am studying actuarial science from Institute and Faculty of Actuaries in UK. And aside from that, I have been associated with EduPristine for over 2 years now. I've conducted somewhere around 300 plus sessions in classroom as well as online, teaching students across level 1 and 2, almost uh, like could be 200, 300 plus students that I've interacted with in the last 2 years. I'll give you my contact details. Once again, if you have details or doubts about EduPristine's course structure or LMS, don't contact me, contact someone from the EduPristine. But if you have any doubt about the CFA course, how it would affect you, should you do it, should you do it, not do it, any of professional queries you have, feel free to contact me. No restrictions whatsoever. If you feel you want to connect with the mail, you can contact me there as well. Keep in mind the spelling is GOYAT. So it's not a mistake. It is GOYAT. For the mail, it would be relevant. Let me know if you have any doubts that I can clarify about the course structure. Kunal, you still have doubt? You can unmute the mic and ask.
No, no, it's okay.
All right.
If in doubt, I will contact you, obviously.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Yeah, for which time you are available actually?
I am available in weekdays, normally weekdays and weekends, after
Mhm.
10 a.m. in the morning.
After 10. Okay.
Or you can just WhatsApp me, and like if you want to schedule a call or something, you can
So
WhatsApp me. And
it's your WhatsApp number as well, right?
yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
Thank you.
Geeta, do you still have doubt? All right. So that pretty much concludes the seminar. I hope I did clarify the doubts about the CFA course as a whole. Once again, if you have doubts or you need details about the exact classes or classroom sessions in your area, I would suggest just contact the EduPristine team in your local center coordinators. They will be able to guide you better with LMS details and all of those things. Vinay, the shifting of attempts is something that CF Institute has allowed this year, primarily because of pandemic. If the August exam is happening and you want to shift from August to November, CF Institute exam normally does not allow that. Of course, exceptions have been there where they have allowed the attempt to be carried forward. But under normal circumstances, if the exam is happening and you want to shift to the next attempt, you will have to re-register for the November exam. There have been certain cases where due to medical reasons or some exceptional circumstances, in the past also students were allowed to carry forward their attempt. So exceptions are there. But in general, if the exam is not cancelled, CF Institute does not give you the option to shift the exam to the next attempt. So I hope Vinay that clarifies. All right. So that's it from my side. I hope I did explain and help you guys out with any sort of queries or details you might have needed. If you feel you come across something else you need clarification about CFA course, feel free to contact. So that's it from my side, guys. I hope to see you soon in classes.